Welcome to Rochelle's Word. We are on part 4 of our series, When Physical, Psychological, and Emotional Abuse Occurs, What Am I Supposed to Do? On last week, I talked with you about number 1, the abuser's use of intimidation, and number 2, the abuser's use of emotional abuse. Now, let's begin with the third wheel, which is entitled The Abuser's Use of Isolation. This individual, he controls what you do, he controls who you see, he controls who you talk to, he controls what you read, and most importantly, he controls where you go. B, he limits your outside involvement. For example, there is one car and one key, and only he has control of them both. He allows you interaction with others, but only from 2 o'clock p.m. until 4 o'clock p.m., for example, on Thursdays and Thursdays only. C, he uses jealousy to justify his actions. He says to you, for example, you spend too much time with your family and friends and not enough time with me. Or perhaps you are on your way out with your friends and suddenly he says, I forgot, I have an appointment, so you can't go. Now let's go back and look at this third category of abuse. Like I said to you before, it's real important that I explain things to you in such a way that I leave you with a question that you must always ask yourself. This area speaks of the abuser's use of isolation. What is isolation? Isolation is the failure of an individual to maintain contact with others or genuine communication where interaction with others persists. It is God's desire that we have fellowship one with another, as it speaks of in the book of 1 John chapter 1, verse 7. Fellowship is interaction with others, not just with those in your own home. So I ask you, if it is God's desire that we have fellowship one with another, then why is it that not your significant others desire that you do the same? Let me say that again. Why is it then that your significant others desire that you not do the same? Number 4, he minimizes, denies, and uses blame in his relationship with you. A, he makes light of the abuse and does not take your concerns about it seriously. He says, if you would just stop making me mad, then you wouldn't have to have a little black eye and cover it up by putting makeup on your face. Or he says, see, if you would just stop raising your voice at me, I wouldn't have to slap you so much. But you force me to do this. Just do what I tell you to do. Or he says, it's your fault that you got your own ribs broke. I told you to come back at exactly 4 o'clock, not 4:02. That's why you got hit. Besides, I didn't really hit you that hard. B, he says that the abuse didn't happen. You end up in the hospital after a physical altercation with him, and he responds, I didn't put you in the hospital. You put yourself here. I didn't make that happen. You did it to yourself. Or he says, your arm got broke because you didn't listen. So you broke your own arm. C, he shifts responsibility for his abusive behavior. He says, I did it because it took you too long to come back. Or I kept it because you didn't put it back where it belonged. D, he accuses you of being the cause of his response. He says, you made me hit you. I didn't want to hurt you, but you wouldn't stop. You have to learn to obey me. Or he says, I asked you in a nice way and it took you too long. So I had no other choice but to punch you right in your face. Eventually, you will get it right. Now let's go back and look at this fourth category of the wheel. This area speaks of the abuser's use of minimizing, denying, and blaming. When you deny something, it denotes refusing to take responsibility for your actions. At the same time, in this context, the abuser blamed the victim for the outcome of his inflicted actions. The Bible speaks of the two great commandments in the book of Matthew chapter 22, verses 37 through 40. Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor. How? As thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. My sister, I ask you then, when your significant other refuses to take responsibility for his own actions and blames you for the pain that he inflicted, is he showing you that he loves you as much as he loves himself? Well, we will continue our series next week on when physical, psychological, and emotional abuse occurs. What am I supposed to do? Until next Sunday, know that you are loved. See you then.